Okay, getting closer.
Okay.
Oh, we have a big tranche of people coming in right now.
Give us the cue.
All right. Oh, cool.
Those were the good old days when I worked with Bill Simcoe. As time marches on, guy.
Yeah. Back in the old days. It was totally different back then. Totally different.
We're just gonna give it a couple more minutes for folks to log in.
I
And then
remember when
do a
Elliot
roll
Spitzer
call.
became governor and he passed an executive policy that not, there used to be this thing, if you're a public official, you couldn't take a gift more than $75.
Right, yeah.
But then when he became governor, you couldn't even accept a cup of coffee.
Well, yeah.
And we used to meet with DEC and with our consulting firms, and the consulting firms would bring
Yeah.
coffee and donuts. And we take pictures of the DEC guys
Oh,
taking a donut.
I told you so. Yeah, it's up to 75 now, right?
I don't know where it is now. I haven't
We'll
been.
just give it another minute or so for us to hopefully achieve a quorum.
I remember when the consulting firms would give you gifts
Okay.
at Christmas. And then right when I was retiring, it was like, I get an email saying you donated some money to this and that, not for profit in your name. And I'm like, what? I want the hand.
Well, I haven't had to worry about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
I
out of
think
loop
the
for
only
a
thing I
while.
had to worry about was a grilled cheese sandwich once.
All right, we need one more member and then we can get going.
So Mark, do you know if Martin went to that conference at the Sagamore in May?
I don't recall if we did or
I'm
not.
just curious of how it is now, I don't know. We'll see if it recovered from COVID.
Well, I would imagine people are very eager to get back to
Oh, yeah.
vacationing
Yeah.
at places.
It was a great venue and a great, it was in May when you're ready to get out and you
Mhm.
see something like Lake George, and they always had great presentations.
Great
Networking
facility.
and all that stuff. It was a great conference.
Yeah.
Andrew from the city of Troy is trying to call in.
That's for Martin's meeting.
Oh, it's from Burns, okay. That's down the hall. Okay.
Mhm.
Picture of this setup. My friend was trying to get the Owl Pro and
Oh, yeah.
things set up for a St. Andrew Society who are involved in.
Oh, really? They have an owl also, or?
No, we don't. It's a not-for-profit in Albany and St. Andrew Society.
Tight minds, yeah.
Been having trouble getting a quorum, just like everybody else.
Mhm.
It's a pretty good system.
Yeah.
For money. I don't know exactly what that costs, but boy, I tell you, it's very dependable.
Yeah.
It's simple.
And I don't know, like we were talking a minute ago, even after COVID is gone, people are used now
Yeah.
to not having to drive 45 minutes in a snowstorm to get to a meeting.
Yep.
And if you can just zoom in on your computer, at least you get a quorum and get more people participating.
I've been using it heavily and not for a profit, and it's easier to get your quorums and.
One Zoom meeting that we had at St. Andrews, we had more participation than we've had in any regular meetings in years. But we're not.
They
Zoom
didn't
capable.
even have to bring the coffee.
Yeah, but we don't have Zoom capability at we have a beautiful building downtown.
Right, yeah.
And we don't have Zoom capability there. Everybody is just at home. This is when
Yeah.
nobody was going out early in COVID.
Yeah.
Then we have members who, go to Florida for the winter. and
Yeah,
they-
that's
So
true.
they can participate for 4 or 5 months.
All right, I'm reaching out to members who said that they would be here, just to remind them that our meeting is at 10.
That's one, so.
Yes, we actually have to amend our constitution to be able to use Zoom. It says in the Constitution, you can only vote if you're there in person, some language like
I
that.
got-
That's the diverse crowd over there, isn't it?
Yeah, so, yeah. Different energy. I was like, oh,
Changing of the
thank you
times,
very
isn't
much.
it? Yeah.
So I've reached out to everyone. Perhaps I
Started.
would suggest taking care of some of the more administrative stuff that doesn't require action. And then if we do achieve a quorum, then we can take one action unless there are any questions on all the action items.
So everything. So you're suggesting what?
That I will describe everything that's in the action items, and then as soon as we achieve a quorum, we'll take a vote on all
So
the action
we're
items.
just talking about. the
Right.
Items, okay.
Okay.
Sounds
Does that sound good with everyone?
Sounds good.
Hopefully, we will be able to achieve a quorum here today. So the financial statements through June 30th.
Do you want me to?
Oh, sure, sorry.
Right. Welcome, everyone, to the Capital District Regional Planning Commission on 7/14/2022. This meeting can be streamed through YouTube at CDRPC channel. And Mark, how are we doing on the attendance?
Sure. I need to text Jason the call-in information to the meeting. Hang on, sorry.
Yeah. That's,
Oh, we have David Hogenkamp jumping on
oh, we
now.
do, Chris.
So we'll be able to formally call the meeting to order.
Okay.
Let's all clap when David comes on.
That'll be a first.
All right, joining.
You want me to start from scratch again?
No, that's okay. And I'll just call the roll and note that the meeting is starting at 10:08. Suspense is killing me. No, we have two. Okay, David is here. Now we can go. Congratulations, everyone. We made a quorum. Good job. All right, meeting was called to order by Chairman Warner at 10:08 a.m. I'll just go through the roll. Judy Bressler from Rensselaer County is here. Barbara Marr from Schenectady County is here. Craig Warner from Saratoga County is here. David Hogenkamp from Schenectady County is here. Jackie Stallone from Rensselaer County is here. Kristen Swinton from Albany County is here. Larry Schillinger from Albany County is here. Opal Hims from Saratoga County is here. Willie Bruce is here with us in the room from Albany County. Scott Bendett from Rensselaer County is here. And Don Ackerman from Schenectady County is here. Did I miss anybody? And of course, we have the intrepid CDRPC staff. Staff on the cameras, just wave. In the room. There you go. Thank you. First order of business.
First order of business is to accept the minutes for May 8th, 2022. Is there any required changes or updates? Mark? Nope, okay. Is there any questions?
Move to accept, Don.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I second. Judy
Thank
Bressler.
you. Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion was carried. Thank you very much.
So Zaynep, that was Don Ackerman and Bill Bruce.
The second order of business is the financial statements through June 30th, 2022, memo 22-14.
Right, we're tracking slightly under par on the revenue side because we have not booked Q2 revenues from our grant funded agencies. We're in a good cash position with just over $250,000 in the bank. So that's the long and the short of the financial report.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any discussion or questions on the financial statements? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to accept financial statements?
Bill Bruce
Is there a
and
second?
Barbara Morrow seconds.
I'll
Any
second.
questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Is
Aye.
there any op-
Aye.
Is there any opposition? So carried. Thank you very much. The fourth order is the 2021 audit memo 22-15. Mark?
We have representatives here from Marvin and Company. This is their third year completing the audit for CDRPC. And I'll turn it over to Heather Lewis, who can walk the board through. And given our precarious quorum situation, I use your discretion to include or exclude any information that you may choose.
Okay, thank you. Do you want me to pull it up on my screen?
That'd be great.
Excellent. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yep.
Excellent. So the first item I'll go through is our required communication. So you have drafts in your audit packet. These are now final. The only difference is really that the date has showed up now, but the information that you would have received is still the same information that we're going to go through here. This letter is our required communication letter. This goes through and just communicates things that we're required to make you aware of. It lets you know that we've followed generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. We continue on, it lets you know that there are different aspects of accounting policies and practices. You did not require adoption of any new accounting policies during 2021. There were no transactions that lacked any support or guidance that were entered into. Your financial statements do have estimates within those. Those are part of the process. Some estimates are sensitive. The most sensitive estimate that you have relates to your participation in the New York State Pension Plan. And the information for that estimate is based on the state plan and what they provide to you. We believe our disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear. We did not have any difficulties performing the audit or working with management. There were no known corrected or uncorrected misstatements. So that means that when we came in to do the audit, there were no adjustments that were required to be made that were considered significant as part of the audit process. So we were giving good data, which means that information that Mark just went over for your June is likely accurate. You can rely on that. We did not have any disagreements with management. If we did, we'd be required to report those to you. We received a representation letter, which was also included in your packet, that was signed, that basically says that they provided us access to whatever documentation we may have needed and whomever we maybe needed to speak with. And, we're open in any information that we may have needed as part of the audit. There were no consultations with other independent accountants that we are aware of. And this other audit findings, there was nothing additional that we needed to bring to your attention as part of this process. In the last paragraph, we'll get to, it's reiterated in the audit report. So this is a very standard letter, very standard communication, nothing unusual or concerning in this report. So that's our required communication. The next thing we'll go through is just a high-level review of the financial statements themselves, and what our audit report is and what our opinion is. So our audit report, one thing you might notice right off the bat is that the audit report looks a lot different for 2021 than it did for 2020. And that is because we were required to implement some new auditing standards that didn't change our responsibilities or management's responsibilities. It really changed the layout of the audit report and is supposed to make it more clear and concise for the users of the financial statement. So you can decide if that standard met that requirement, but that was the intention from the oversight bodies. So it starts right off now with our opinion. We've audited your financial statements as of 12/31/21. The financial statements are all disclosed in the footnotes or in the table of contents. In our opinion, your financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So that's that clean opinion, the highest level of assurance that we can provide. Then it goes on, Then it goes on to explain the basis for our opinion. So we had to follow certain standards. So we followed generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. We will further describe our responsibilities. Some of the new language you'll see is there's comments in here that we are required to be independent and that we are required to meet ethical requirements. We've always been required to do that. We're now just also required to include that in our audit report and let you know that we believe all the evidence that we've gathered is sufficient to support our opinion. Responsibility as management. Management continues to be responsible for making sure the financial statements are prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and responsible for making sure they have good internal controls in place and that those internal controls are functioning throughout the entire year. This new paragraph, the second paragraph here also lets you know that in preparing the financial statements, management is required to let us know if there's a going concern. Always been required. Now it's included in the audit report. So basically, if there was anything that management knew that would likely cause CDRPC to not be an organization 12 months from now, they should be making us aware. That's all that paragraph saying. Our responsibilities have stayed pretty much the same. Again, we have to follow various standards. We're responsible for making sure that financial statements are materially correct. There could be immaterial errors in there that we don't identify because that's not what the purpose of an audit is. But it lets you know that, some risks, and if there were fraud, there's a higher chance that we're not going to identify fraud based on the factors that they have listed. So again, same thing that we've always had. It's just that it's spelled out a little bit more in the audit report now. We're required to exercise professional skepticism. We ask lots of questions and we do a lot of show me. We don't just take the response, we ask show me. We identify the risks of material misstatement, design our audit procedures based on that, consider internal control as part of the process, evaluate your policies, and then consider if there's a substantial doubt about the organization's ability to continue for 12 months. That's all that's saying. Then for required supplemental information, so there's some supplemental schedules that are required to be included in your financial statements, management discussion and analysis, budget to actual reports, and some reports on the pension data. That's in there. We don't express any opinion on it. It's just required to be in your financial statements. And then lastly, there's a reference to the final audit report in accordance with government auditing standards that we'll go through. This paragraph just says it's important that you read that. So any questions so far, please go ahead and jump in. I'm not going to go through the management discussion and analysis. A lot of good information in here, but not something that we're going to go through as part of the presentation. As far as your financial statements, 2021 compared to 2020, not a lot of significant changes. If you were to look, some of your accounts receivable balances are down, so your cash balance is up because you collected more funds before the end of the year. The biggest change that you'll see is your net pension liability was about $500,000 of a liability last year. This year, it's only $2,000. That's the number that the state provides to you. You don't really have any control over that. And based on the state's year end being March 31st, this is based on March 31st, 2021 data. the market was doing pretty good at 2021 versus 2022. So your liability went down. But again, there's not really anything that you do. You budget as a pay as you go. So what you budget for is your annual cost. But that was really the biggest change from 2021 to 2020. And then similarly, your expenses stay pretty consistent with last year. Your revenue did go up. You got some additional funding, some new contracts. So those are the big changes there. And there wasn't anything else as far as the financial statements that I was going to go through. Your footnotes stayed relatively consistent compared to prior year, but I would like to go through our final report in here that we're responsible for. And this is a report on our consideration of internal control and compliance with laws and regs. It reiterates a lot of what we've already talked about. Lets you know that we've audited your financial statements. We have to consider your internal controls as part of the process. We don't give an opinion on them, but we do consider them. Gives you some definitions and lets you know in this last paragraph that we did not identify any deficiencies in internal controls that we believe to be material weaknesses. But of course, there could be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies out there that we didn't identify. But based on our testing and our work that we were required to perform, we didn't identify anything. So that's good. And then our report on compliance, it lets you know that we do believe you complied with any direct and material compliance requirements. So we didn't identify any instances of non-compliance. So again, that's a very clean report as well. It's just required communication. And that's everything that we have. We do not have even an additional management letter this year. There were no items that we came across that we felt warranted being reported or any concerns that we had based on the audit procedures that we performed. So that's everything that we have for you. Do you have any questions?
I have a question. On page 8, under deferred outflows of resources, pensions, 492,511. What exactly is that number?
So that is also related to the state pension plan. So you'll see you have that deferred outflow of 492 and you have a deferred inflow of 662. That is related to your participation in the state pension plan. So there's a footnote that discloses the specifics, but a lot of it has to do with when they change assumptions like discount rates and things like that they use, that changes a deferred inflow or outflow. So it really is based on some of the actuarial assumptions that are underlying that liability, that net pension liability that is provided from the state. So it's not a number you have any control over. They're recognized over a 5-year period, but they change every year based on the new actuarial assumptions that the state has in place.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there any other questions for Heather?
Well, an unremarkable audit is a good thing.
Yeah.
And all kudos goes to our financial officer, Tom White and Amy Weinstock for doing a great job keeping everything together.
And I would like to thank Amy, Tom, and Mark, because it is a long haul and it's remarkable closing to it. So thank you, Heather.
Yes, thank you, Heather and Melody. They were very kind in asking all the questions that annoyed Tom to no end.
And very supportive. Is there any other questions concerning the audit? Hearing none. May I have a motion to accept them?
I will make that motion.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, we have a second. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any opposition? Hearing none. Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, getting on to item 5, 2022 budget amendment. Excuse me, budget amendment memo number 22-16.
All right, thank you,
Mark?
Craig. The requested budget amendment does 3 things. It accounts for additional revenues from our DOS NBRC broadband grant and related expenses. We're budgeting in $50,000 in revenues in 2022 and $50,000 in expenses for this year. There will be a remaining balance that will budget into 2023. It also changes the travel line budget to reflect, I think, what is the new normal of actually traveling less. But it also requests a $4,400 increase to the telephone and internet line to accommodate a new phone system, voice over IP phone system. So while we're moving money out of transportation, the costs of doing business have changed. So the new phone system will allow our workers, whether they're in the office, hybrid, or working remotely, or working in the field, to have a seamless experience from a customer and stakeholder perspective. We will no longer have to awkwardly take messages and give people phone numbers, staff's personal cell phone numbers. If you call the office manager, anybody would be able to transfer people calling for individuals directly to their cell phones or to whatever platform that is allowed. So the new phone system comes with a monthly charge of just over $300. And that's roughly about $12 per set for the office, I believe. And so really, it just reflects, I think, the new normal of less in-person travel, but investing in technology to make the user experience for our employees and our stakeholders more seamless in the office. So the board action is requested to approve the budget modification and to authorize me to execute a service contract for the new telephone system.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Is there any other questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion to accept? A motion. Thank you, Bruce. Is there a second?
I'll second it. It's Kristen.
Kristen, thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Okay. Number 6, item 6, preliminary 2023 budget memo, 2217.
Right, so the board in July passes its preliminary budget or accepts it. That allows us to make our budget requests to the counties, which we do immediately following this meeting. A couple changes, the overall budget's 10% less than it was in 2022. That reflects mainly not receiving and spending the CARES Act funding in 2023. Our request to the counties remains the same as it was last year, $215,000, which was a 5% increase to the amount that we had received since 2008. There are some changes to the contractual services lines. We are factoring in additional revenues for our administration of the climate leadership coordinator work. Lines for CSO and UPWP remain relatively flat, and the budget anticipates us spending $85,000 in 2023 for the broadband work, and that's a combination of staff time and consultant subcontracts. On the salaries line, on the expense line, it reflects a full-time professional staff of 9, 1 part-time professional, our finance officer, and 1 intern, and the finance officer and the intern are reflected on the temporary services line. You'll note that the travel line and the telephone line reflect the decrease and subsequent increase to those lines, reflecting a new normal of what's going on. The health insurance line reflects a conservative estimate of more people having family plans than not in the budget. So I anticipate that as a conservative estimate. I did not anticipate in this particular budget a wholesale increase to the premium rates for 2023. We don't have the premium rates yet, but the final budget that will be presented will reflect a more accurate number for healthcare expenses.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any questions? No questions? Okay, do I have a motion to accept?
So
Do I have a
moved.
motion? Okay,
Barbara?
thank you, Barbara. Do I have a second?
Second, Don,
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you. Items number 7, approval of Saratoga contract memo 2218. Mark?
Right, so the Saratoga County Board of Legislatures in the end of 2021 passed a resolution requiring contracts with all their service providers. CDRPC falls under their definition of a service provider for these purposes. They did submit to us a template agreement. I noted that that agreement was probably inconsistent with the 4-county agreement that the counties are a party to. So I had our attorney draft an agreement that would jive with the 4-county agreement establishing CDRPC and the intent of the Saratoga County Board of Supervisors, which is attached to your review. And I'm just requesting board action to approve this contract and to authorize the executive director and financial officer to execute the same and do so annually as needed.
Okay, is there any questions?
Mark, who's the attorney now?
Our attorney is Bob Ryan from Harris Beach.
Is there any other questions? Awful quiet out there today.
Is Mike Hall still involved as an attorney in any capacity?
He's not. He's, I think semi-retired, but I think he's of counsel for Trustco now.
Is he? Okay. May I have a motion to accept?
A motion.
Thank you, Bruce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Any opposition? Hearing none. The motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 8, the CARES subaward extensions. Memo 22-19. Mark?
Right, this action is simply to extend the CARES Act subawards to Saratoga or SEDC and to Rensselaer County for their CARES Act work. We were able to secure an extension for our grant with the EDA, and these extensions simply are extending the term of the MOU that we have with those organizations to complete their work. We do anticipate that all work under those contracts and the $200,000 will be completely exhausted by the end of this calendar year.
This calendar year. Okay, thank you. Is there any questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept. This is Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
a
Is there a
second, Don. Don, second.
Who was that?
Don
Don
Ackerman.
Ackerman. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposition? Motion carried. Thank you much. Okay. Number 9, item number 9, 2021 annual report. I'm going to hand this one to Mark.
Sure. So our annual report is the document that we send along with our budget requests to the counties and the county legislators. It answers the question, what have you done for me lately? It's always a good question to answer when we're asking for money. So this document is really a team effort. It reflects content and, celebrates the work that our talented staff have done over the course of the year in 2021. I won't go over the details of the things that are in the report. You can browse that for yourself, but we really try to pull out the major successes and try to quantify, the tremendous value that CDRPC is bringing back to communities through our variety of programs. So I'd like to thank Zaynep Taz, our new planner and GIS analyst, for laying this annual report out in InDesign, which saved me a tremendous amount of time laying things out. So that was great. And all the staff for contributing, the content and the images and the things that really help tell our story to the stakeholders that need to hear it.
All did a great job. Thank you very much, everybody that helped out on that. I appreciate it. Okay, is there any questions on the annual report? Hearing none, may I have a motion to accept?
One question, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
This, the flashy multicolored hard copy will be available at the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion to accept?
I'll move to accept.
Bruce,
I'll
thank
second.
you, or
Barbara,
thank
Laura,
you.
yep, and Bill Bruce.
Bruce on the second, thank you. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion is carried. Thank you for your hard work, Mark, on that. Number 10, item 10, is there any other business that anybody wants to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
Between now and the end of the year, I may mull around a different frequency or dates for our meetings, maybe moving the meeting from July back to June, in the hopes of achieving a better attendance. A lot of people are on vacation at the tail end of June. It's always been a challenge, so maybe it's something that we can consider before we schedule next year's meetings, but I'll think about it in terms of
Next year's meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
what we do. And everyone, and I'll send around a calendar invite shortly after this meeting. October 19th, 2022, in person. We'll have donuts and coffee and all the bells and whistles.
That's the next meeting.
Can't wait.
That's on the 20th?
On the 19th.
Okay. Got that, yeah.
And at that meeting, we will hopefully adopt a policy that will allow some remote attendance at our meetings, but there's no getting around an in-person quorum after today.
Sounds good. Did everyone hear that? Coffee and donuts
Yes.
in person? Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other questions? Is there any other business? Hearing none. May I have a motion to close the meeting?
Motion
Move
to adjourn.
Did I hear a second?
Second.
Don and Scott.
You have a second? Any questions about closing the business? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? No. Motion carried. So we will see you again, October 19th, 2022. It's all in person, no Zoom. The state is not allowing it. Under
Have a great summer,
extreme
folks.
Circumstances. So.
Yeah, have a good rest of the summer.
Okay,
you
that's
too.
also scheduled,
Enjoy.
that's scheduled for 10 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock, October 19th.